Unless otherwise indicated, all the following scripture quotations are taken from the Holy Bible, New Living Translation, with copyright by Tyndale Foundation, used by permission of Tyndale House Publishers, all rights reserved.
Yesterday I made a video about victim blaming, and we spoke about victim blaming on the stream yesterday as well while we read Proverbs. So today I thought we'd actually take a look at how do I find out if I'm in a place where I'm going to be blamed as a victim, and how do I keep myself safe? So let's get into it. Hi, welcome to my channel, and thank you for being here. If you are here, probably unfortunately you may have experienced some trauma or have been hurt or abused in your life, and I just want to say I'm so sorry that you might have gone through that, or you may know someone who has gone through that, and I'm sorry to you and to that person because it is a terrible experience. And I'm here talking out about victim blaming in Christianity because it really pisses me off. Sorry for my French, but it really does. And I don't think it's something that God approves of. And yesterday I made a video about the victim blaming, which we found a scripture in Proverbs, which shows that God definitely doesn't approve of the victim blaming. So can we just stop here? But anyway, today we are looking at how to be safe, and also how to spot an area where you possibly are going to be blamed as a victim if you talk up about your situation, and maybe some things that you can do. Okay, so the first thing that I've got, the first tip that I can give you is mind who you talk to. You, as much as you want to, as much as you maybe think that you can't talk to everyone. You can't tell everyone your personal situation. There's a lot of people that aren't going to respond favorably to you, and there are several different reasons for that. Possibly because your abuser forced you to be silent, and so everybody thought they're a good person, or possibly because people just have prejudices and they don't want to believe something negative about the other person, or they don't want to interfere. So in order to protect yourself, mind who you talk to. I'm not saying don't speak out. I'm not saying don't speak up. I'm saying just be careful of the individual you talk to, because not everyone is going to understand what you're going through. Number 2, do not expect your family to support you. This, like I've said before, could be because they only know that person within one context, and they want to keep it that way, where they have this nice image of this person. They don't want to think that this person is capable of doing such horrible things. That might be the case. And also maybe they just don't really care about you, I'm sorry to say, but some people come from toxic families and they don't really care about your welfare, because their behavior proves that. The way they treat you and the way they think about you, their lack of compassion towards you, really proves that they don't care much about you. So to protect your heart, don't engage with those type of people, and don't share your story. You don't owe anybody anything. The only thing that you owe yourself and others is to treat people with dignity and respect, the way that you treat yourself with dignity and respect. So don't tell people what's going on in your life until you know and feel and are certain that they are a safe space, and that often doesn't happen in a family. Number 3, look out for red flags in a person's speech or behavior. So because you've been in abusive relationships, you possibly have a damaged, like a radar system. Your system doesn't pick up those red flags as easily as somebody who hasn't been in an abusive situation. So you need to start training yourself to look out for these situations. For example, how do the people around you treat their animals? How do they treat their wives? How do they treat their husbands? How do they treat their friends? How do they treat their family members? And how do they treat their children? Because that's going to tell you whether or not this person is a safe space for you to talk to. If you see someone who is okay with beating an animal, or who is okay with beating their children, that's possibly not someone that's going to be sympathetic towards you, because they're abusive. So if you tell someone that does those things that this is what you've been through, they're not necessarily going to sympathize with you. They might ask you, what have you done to cause this to happen, which is disgusting, but there are people like this in the world, and that's why we are here. That's why we're talking about abuse, because it exists. And so just look out for those red flags. Try to pinpoint someone's behavior that you don't think is normal, and look out for it in a person's speech as well. Sometimes things that they say, especially people who are misogynists, they are not necessarily going to care for the plight of a woman who is mentioning that she's in an abusive relationship. So just be very, very careful about that and try and look for those red flags. Number 4, if you're part of an organization or want to talk to someone in an organization or church, check for their belief systems and their policies. If they have a strong no divorce policy, they are not going to encourage you, or at least they're going to be very unlikely to encourage you to get a divorce. If you're in an abusive situation, they might just encourage you to pray and God will make everything better magically, as if you weren't praying already. So check those policies. Check that you're in a safe, protected space. Ask them what happens if you share something and a leader is out of line, or a leader shares your story. What's going to happen to that person? Will they be dismissed? What's the policies that they have so that you can protect yourself? Okay. Number 5. I just want to make this very clear to you, in case you aren't aware. You do not have to stay anywhere that you are not comfortable. It doesn't matter if it's your parents' church. It doesn't matter if it's your long-term home church, whatever, or it's the only church or the only institution in your city or town or whatever. If they make you feel uncomfortable, you have the right to leave. If you don't agree with what they do, you have the right to leave. If you don't agree with the things that are said to you or to someone else, you have the right to speak up and you have the right to leave. There's no organization on earth that can tell you don't have the right to speak up unless it's a cult. So you have the right to speak up and leave and prioritize yourself and your health and your safety. No one can tell you otherwise. Yeah. And number 6 is do things that make you feel stronger. So if you don't want to be a part of a conversation anymore, leave. Put a stop to that. Cut off people that are abusive to you. Like I said before, when you come from an abusive relationship, this can be really hard because that radar of what is actually safe for me and what is healthy for me is sort of damaged and maybe even broken. And you're going to need to retrain yourself to do all of these things. But you have the right to leave, and you should stand up, because you need to build yourself up in a space where other people are maybe not going to do so or help you to do so. So if you feel uncomfortable, leave. If you are not happy with the things that someone said, you can speak out or end the conversation, or don't talk to them or write them off, whatever it is. Set your boundaries and stick to them, because you deserve to have a healthy life and you deserve to be in a space where you feel safe, and you deserve to keep people around you that are compassionate, empathetic, and if you're a Christian, are actually emulating the life of Christ and not just saying that they're emulating the life of Christ by quoting scriptures at you and all of that crap. So I say crap not because the scriptures are crap, but because the attitudes attached to people who Bible bash people going through something, those attitudes are absolute crap. And no victim of any abuse anywhere deserves that kind of treatment, and I don't tolerate it and I don't stand for it. And neither should you, because you are important, you are vital, and you are valuable to God, because that's why He created you. You've got a message, you've got a life, and you still have worth and value. Even if someone wants to tell you that your value is only to the extent of the amount of sins that you have, there's no condemnation for those who are in Christ. That's in the Bible, you can look it up. Anyway, so thank you for being here. I appreciate you, and I just want to say that if you have something to say, you can pop it in the comments. I would love to read your comments and hear your thoughts, and stay tuned for your scripture of the day. Your scripture of the day comes from Philippians 2 verse 14 and 15, which says, "Do everything without complaining and arguing, so that no one can criticize you. Live clean, innocent lives as children of God, shining like bright lights in a world full of crooked and perverse people." Alrighty, tighty, that's it from me. I would hate to hear that anyone has gone through this, but as someone who has gone through some of these things myself, we are here, whether by choice or not. But we are here and we are strong, and we don't care for victim blaming. We don't tolerate victim blaming. We can tolerate dissenting opinions, but we don't stand for anyone bashing someone who has gone through something difficult and is trying to pull themselves together and stand back up on their feet. We do not stand for that here. So if that's the type of person you are, You can leave this channel, you can unsubscribe, whatever it is. You are not welcome here. If this is a place where you want to bash someone for their beliefs or for their choices or for anything that happened to them that wasn't their fault. But anyway, thank you so much for joining me, and I hope that you have an absolutely wonderful day further. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.
그대 잠깐 눈을 붙일 때 나는 마음에 불을 붙여요 비밀의